Reliever Hollis Jefferson has to have a big game in the front court for the Owls.
He's a do-whatever it delivers, on time and on target.
Today's starting lineups presented by Chevrolet. We start with Syracuse. They're the road team, although you wouldn't know it if you're here at the Garden. And Michael Carter-Williams getting front court help from another McDonald's All-American in Rakeem Christmas.
Well, this is a guy who's looking opposite many of his Philadelphia friends on Temple, so they're familiar with one another.
And one of your favorites, reliever Hollis Jefferson, has to have a big game in the front court for the Owls.
He's a do-whatever-it-takes kind of guy. Extra possessions, you need it. You need him to guard big, guard small. He can do all of that. An outstanding interior passer. I have loved watching that young man play.
Donnie Epley, Guy Pagano, and Rod Marakovich are the officials. Syracuse at 10-0. 900 wins for Jim Boeheim, third all-time now behind Mike Krzyzewski and Bob Knight. Of course, Bob Knight at 902 wins. So history again could be made by Jim Boeheim only a couple of games from now if Syracuse continues to play the way they have early this season and Brandon Trish gets them off to the quick start.
He had a very unbranded Trish-like game the last time out, just 1 for 6 from the floor, but usually rock solid steady, Mr. Trish.
It was a cold night from 3 for Temple in their loss middle of the week to Canisius. They're going to have to shoot the ball well against Syracuse to be in this game. And the shot clock down to 5. Wide open look for Wyatt from NBA range, and that won't go.
That young man is huge to their hopes today. Khalif Wyatt in their 2 losses is 0 for 10 from 3, so Jim Boeheim hoping he remains cold.
34 20-plus win seasons, #1 all-time for Jim Boeheim. Of course, has been to 3 championship games in the NCAA tournament and finally got that elusive national title back in 2003.
Temple has several options to work that high post, and against a zone that extends like this one does, that's important, and that's a huge basket for Khalif Wyatt. They played Duke tough. They were in the game at points. This guy struggled. Can he score it today consistently? Because he's one of the nation's best. Got a lot of junk in his game, and I mean that as a compliment.
Trish gets double teamed and lost it. Here comes Scooty Randall, trying to go coast to coast. Can't finish, but the follow by Hollis Jefferson off the rim as well. Loose in the corner, and here comes Michael Carter-Williams with help. The lob, and the finish, thrown down by C.J. Fair. What a turnaround.
You had so many white jerseys along the baseline, and one of the things you have to do is defensive transition well against Syracuse. Boy, they change ends quickly and do it for layups.
Those types of 4-point momentum swings, something that you have to think Temple can't have if they're going to be in this game. A block underneath by Christmas, but a foul called. Nice job by Anthony Lee to draw the foul.
Well, the nation's best point guard. His talent is off the charts, folks. He will not miss many numbers opportunity in transition.
Now, talking to assistant coach Mike Hopkins before the game, he talked about the fact that he senses how much fun the players for Syracuse have running with Michael Carter-Williams, especially when you are the trail guy, because his vision is so good. You know he's going to make something happen to reward you for running the floor with him.
Well, and it becomes contagious, too, now. When you have a passer of his ilk with the kind of vision and extraordinary ability, that gets the crowd excited. And the next thing you know, everybody on the orange wants to make those kinds of passes. It's contagious.
#1 in the country in assists. Michael Carter-Williams averaging 10.7 per game. And it's knocked out of bounds underneath by Temple, off the feet inside to DeJuan Coleman.
Fran Dunphy's team, first of all, I enjoy watching them. They're smart. They share the basketball. The fact that Khalif Wyatt is off to a good start is a good sign.
Carter-Williams turns it over, nearly. A friendly roll to Coleman. He's blocked underneath, but a foul call. So DeJuan Coleman will go to the free throw line, and Fran Dunphy in his 7th year as the head coach at Temple, the first ever head coach for 2 of the Big 5 schools. Of course, spent 17 years at Penn, played at LaSalle, got his master's at Villanova. I joked with him before that he should just go to St. Joe's one day and like park cars for a few hours just to say he's worked at all 5.
Well, he's a great player at LaSalle and coached by some legendary names. And think about this. There was a stretch from 1992 to 96 where Penn was basically unbeatable in the Ivy League. The guy's been to 13 NCAA tournaments, 13 20-win seasons. The guy can coach.
Wyatt with an up fake. No foul called. Kept alive on the offensive glass, then thrown into the backcourt by Anthony Lee. So Will Cummings will track it down, but that'll be an over and back against Temple. Already to the bench goes Jim Boeheim. His leading scorer coming off the bench, James Sutherland. That's a familiar refrain for Syracuse, as last year they brought the #4 pick in the draft off the bench, and Dion Waiters. That's a different level of depth.
Well, they've done it for a while now. Remember, Scoop Jardine and Chris Joseph came off the bench before Dion Waiters. So this has been a consistent thing for Syracuse.
Carter Williams leans in, doesn't get the roll. Tapped out to Sutherland. And he hits from 19.
The guy just believes it. It's one thing when your teammates play. This guy believes every time it leaves his hands that it's going in the bucket. He's 45% from deep through the early part of this season.
The backboard first for Hollis Jefferson, and it will stay with Temple.
So what do you notice? They're doing a really nice job, Temple, early of entering to the free throw line area. The top two guys in that zone will extend beyond the free throw line. So you've got to get to the foul line, turn and look at your options.
Outside for a Cummings three, and that's good. So Temple with that triple by Will Cummings takes the lead.
Can they get quality shots? In talking to Fran Dunphy against Canisius, who's very well coached, Jim Barron has got his son Billy, who does a really nice job running a team. Can you get good shots against this zone? That will be crucial. They didn't against Canisius. He didn't like their shot selection. But against Syracuse, that's huge.
CJ Fair drives the baseline, muscles it up, can't get it to go. And it's tipped out of bounds by Rakeem Christmas. Pretty good start for Temple. They've got a 1-point lead over Syracuse at our first time out.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by
that zone. And the guy they're going to leave open is obviously a guy who's starting for the first time in his career. He's got great speed, Cummings, but this is a guy who's running this team for the first time. His percentages are low, only played 6 minutes. So you're going to leave one guy open, he's going to be it. The fact that he made that shot, important.
It's a Temple team coming off of a loss to Canisius, as we said on Wednesday night, when they were 4 of 28 from 3 and 2 for 16 in the second half. But Cummings getting that early one to go could certainly build some confidence. That will not, however, as dribble penetration becomes a turnover.
Turnovers will be an important number, obviously. They've rebounded well with Syracuse early in this one. Advantage 5-2 to them. Can't have bad possessions necessarily. And that wasn't a great read by Cummings.
Carter Williams, nice dunk down underneath. And Queta has it blocked. But Anthony Lee, as exciting as that block was, has it wiped away for goaltending.
Well, does it reach its apex? That's the question you have to answer on a goaltending call. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Couldn't tell from that angle. I know officials always say that that's the toughest call to make.
I thought it was block charge.
Wyatt from way outside. That's a brick. It falls right into the hands of Hollis Jefferson. Stripped away, and now a foul called on the extra effort by Anthony Lee. I remember talking to one official who said, and you'd think it would be block charge, just his opinion, you're concentrating so much on all of the floor calls, then you have to re-rack your eyes up to the rim and in an instantaneous moment determine, was it on the way down? Had it reached its apex?
I'll buy that argument, absolutely. And I think as to block charge, it's so much to do with the angle at which you see it, because I think that completely changes perspective.
How much has the restricted area in games that you've done made it an easier call at times for the officials?
Well, first of all, I love the restricted area. I think they have as difficult a job as there is in college sports. Officiating is not easy. The speed, the pace, the athleticism, all an impact. Anything you can do to make their job easier, great.
Another air ball tossed up by Scooty Randall after it was kept alive on the offensive glass after the missed free throw.
The offensive rebounds thus far, Temple has 4, so they are getting multiple shots against a tough zone.
Carter Williams gives it up to Trish.
Well, this guy's been a rock over the years, hasn't he?
Randall with a tough pass to handle, as Hollis Jefferson couldn't handle a bullet that was down around his ankles.
You know, Carter Williams, an outstanding passer, never plays out of pace, Brandon Trish. You don't speed that guy up. He will dictate the pace at which he wants to play.
Sutherland, nice find underneath, and Keita is able to lay it in. Big man to big man, and Syracuse extends the lead.
And that's a change for Sutherland. Early in his career, that was not something in his arsenal. He has worked hard to develop his handle, so he's confident to make that pass.
Randall, his 3 on the way, in and out. Trish has it for a moment slapped away, but such strong hands on the ball as on the reach in. Wyatt couldn't free it from the grip of Brandon Trish, and he gets the lay-in.
Got to get a score here. You've lost a little steam offensively. As you mentioned, struggling in that second half to score. You got to find some buckets. Yes.
It hit the top of the backboard. The officials will confirm. Khalif Wyatt thinks he's got a chance for a three-point play, and now they'll wave it off.
It's all right, couple free throws. You can end the scoring drought. Remember what I said about this guy? He's got a lot of junk in his game. Now he's forced to put it way up because he's afraid of the shot block. There are times where that guy is going to put so much arc on his shot. Now, not a normal jump shot, but when he's around the rim and he knows he's got to, he can do it.
Looked like a good call by the officials as he was behind the backboard. Although it landed on top of the backboard, I'm not sure if they called that it went over the corner of the backboard or maybe it caught the wire as a part of the stanchion at the top, but it seemed as if it traveled over the corner.
I thought so.
Well, you said they needed a score.
Yeah, he did it, and he's the guy you would expect to. Their highest IQ guy, according to Fran Dunphy.
Trish, wide open for 3. Knocks it down, and it's a 7-point lead for Syracuse.
Steady Eddie. Takes quality shots, understands when and what the defense is giving him.
Wyatt penetrates, draws the bump, and he'll go back to the free throw line.
See what I mean about junk? He's got everything in his arsenal. He can make deep shots. He is very good at getting to the free throw line. Plenty of junk. This is a game born from the blacktop, Mr. Wyatt.
Also draws the second foul on by Musa Keita. So Khalif Wyatt back to the free throw line. Second team All A-10 last year, averaged 17 a game. And he's at about 14.5 points a game to start off this season. As Keita heads to the free throw line and Rakeem's Christmas comes back on for Syracuse.
The thing I like about Wyatt and watching this guy over the years, he embraces those moments where sometimes guys shy away from. Not this guy. Money shots, he wants them. Fearless scorer, wants to get to the free throw line. The best scorers in the country get to the free throw line.
He's got half of Temple's 12, and he's keeping them in the game. Trish again from 3. That's too strong. Hollis Jefferson walks the tiptoe line on the baseline to keep it alive. It's amazing how far away from the basket that Syracuse zone makes you play. Cummings from the corner. That won't go. The putback won't go for Hollis Jefferson.
I'm going to just call that guy possessions, because Hollis Jefferson will get you possessions.
Sutherland, fade away. Offensive rebound for Christmas. In a battle, it's a held ball with Anthony Lee, and the possession arrow will give it back to Temple. The milestone wins piling up for one of the legends of the game. A closer look at Jim Boeheim when we return.
At Chevy's year-end event, we have 11 vehicles that offer an EPA estimated 30 mpg highway or better.
Yeah. You know, you can relax and be who you are. And he's, I tell you, I talked to Jim Calhoun about him. He said, Chuck Daly once said, the best thing a head coach can learn is to ignore. And I think as sensitive as he might have been early in his career, Coach Boeheim, because you hear everything. We're all human. We hear everything that's said. He can ignore it because he's comfortable with his success.
TJ DeLeo called for the reach-in foul on James Sutherland. You've covered him for a lot of years.
Yeah.
What differences have you noticed, or has he always, in your opinion, kind of been the same even-keeled guy?
To me, his demeanor has always been the same. And I think, you know, it's one thing when you know what you are as a basketball coach. Like he's an expert at the 2-3 zone. And their staff does an extraordinary job identifying the kinds of guys that will be successful, right? You always have long, rangy athletes who can cover lots of ground. Recruit to who you are, you know, put your system in, make your guys believe in it, get the buy-in necessary, and you can win.
You can certainly win when that's your point guard. Michael Carter-Williams will go to the free throw line. Second foul called on TJ DeLeo.
I know in your busy schedule, you cover a lot of stuff, but have you seen a more electrifying player in college basketball than Michael Carter-Williams this year?
No.
Not close for me.
I mean, you know, it's, and again, talking to Mike Hopkins, lead assistant for Jim Boeheim before the game, the scary part was he believes that Carter-Williams' attitude is still, hey, I'm still kind of a first-year starter at point guard, only played 10 minutes a game last year. I feel as if I need to be the distributor, get guys involved, that he's really even only scratching the surface of all of the things that he could do were he to be a bit more selfish.
As a scorer, you mean, and that's exactly right. I love watching Doug McDermott play, but he's more of a surgeon.
There's some junk with the left hand off the window for Khalif Wyatt.
He's just bullying them right now. He is. He's getting to the free throw line, 7 of 8, and his buckets are keeping this team attached.
Sutherland way outside, NBA range. The long rebound pulled in by Hollis Jefferson. Hollis Jefferson, fortunately off his foot, right to DeLeo.
A couple more shooters on the floor now for Temple.
Wyatt, no look pass through the hands of Relier Hollis Jefferson, and that's a pass that number 32 needs to be able to handle.
Yeah, no question about it. I think Wyatt's a little bit frustrated, but here's the jump. Little up fake, adjust in the air. I mean, there's a lot of big bodies, and he doesn't lose his composure. I mean, how about that? Somebody hanging on the offhand, and he still makes it. Love it.
For those of us with bald spots, that had a lot of Earl the Pearl to it on this very floor a long time ago. Rakeem Christmas throws it down.
This is a guy who wears the look of somebody who gets comfortable with each possession.
Wyatt again penetrates, a little crossover, lost it. And here comes Michael Carter-Williams. Right down the lane, flips it up, the blocking foul call. Hollis Jefferson thought he had position, but Michael Carter-Williams will go to the free throw line.
Well, it's almost like he was anticipating that. It's very easy to step in and take a charge when a guy starts a drive from that far.
That's the second foul on Hollis Jefferson.
Number 1, Michael Carter-Williams.
So an early decision for Fran Dunphy, and it looks like he's going to go right back to the bench and bring Anthony Lee back on for Hollis Jefferson.
Here's your danger time, because an explosive Syracuse team can stretch a lead like this to double. Yeah.
On the offensive glass, the putback plus the foul.
Danger time.
It was already Syracuse's largest lead before this potential three-point play.
They're just so athletic, so fast off his feet, and so persistent. Nicely done by Christmas. See, I mean, it just looks comfortable.
The first foul called on Anthony Lee, and it's a double-digit lead for the Cuse. that Illinois is off to this year. Is John Grossman an impact or what?
Yeah, and you know, I had a chance to have Illinois last year at Virginia, and Brandon Paul had gone off. He's one of the nation's gifted scorers, and good to see my classmate Billy Donovan doing some good things again in Florida. Not that he had ever stopped, but they are competitive in the national title hunt.
O'Brien for three, right out of the timeout. That's a big shot for the Owls.
A big shot, and that's exactly, he is like a European big man, a pick-pop guy. Played 3 years at BU. They've got a couple of graduate students at Temple, an older team in some areas.
C.J. Fair gets a very friendly garden bounce. Baltimore guys aren't supposed to get that kind of bounce here in New York. Supposed to be the guys that grew up in the Bronx.
You know, C.J. Fair, free throw line and down. He's going to be effective.
Wyatt down the lane to Lee. His layup won't go. Right at the front of the rim, and Anthony Lee can't finish.
Wyatt's got to stay positive. Make sure he says, hey, no problem, you'll finish the next one to his teammate.
Turnover.
Because Wyatt's put a couple on the money that should have been caught.
How about that bounce pass? The finish from Jake O'Brien. Terrific look through traffic by Will Cummings.
Good timeout, right? Fran Dunphy calls that 30-second timeout. Just changes the action for a second. They come back strong.
Lee the rebound off the Carter Williams miss. Wyatt will try and attack the rim. Banks it home.
And with a degree of difficulty. Now Jim Boeheim calls one, and wisely so. Fran Dunphy gets exactly what he wants off that 1:30-second timeout.
You have to make plays if you're going to beat Syracuse, and that's certainly what Will Cummings just did.
Because of the watch ESPN on. Yeah.
Well, with college basketball going, it's bowl season as well. You can have 3 or 4 games going at once. Jeremy Grant on for the first time for Syracuse. He finds that soft spot along the baseline, gives it up to Sutherland, who bobbles the pass. Here comes Will Cummings. O'Brien open for 3. He's got another. Temple right back in the game, down by only 2.
One of the things Fran Dunphy's team does is they sprinkle in some traps periodically. So you never really get a rhythm of when they're coming, but they turn defense to offense right there.
Carter Williams comes up short, and a takeaway by Cummings. It looked as if Christmas had the rebound. Cummings to the corner.
Oh, now
And a whistle.
I thought it should have been a no call. He slid out of the way at the last second, but Temple right back in it. The run from the 30-second timeout, Mr. O'Brien moved the basketball, open shots. They don't identify the shooter, and the Owls hooting a little bit. Off the bench. Let that go. Right? He's given up the ball already. And he slides out of the way.
A shot that could have taken Temple from 10 down to the lead, and now a rejection inside by Lee, but then a foul called against Cummings.
Foul called against Temple's number 2, Will Cummings.
Last year, Mike Krzyzewski told me he thought there were too many charges in college basketball. To me, that's a case in point, that last play. And I don't mean to harp on it, because these officials have done a very nice job. And you know, could it have been a charge? Yes. I just don't like it in that instance.
The first meeting between these two teams, by the way, since they played in the 3rd place game in the NIT on this floor back in 2002. Hard to believe it's not only that long since Syracuse has played Temple, but this is the first time that Fran Dunphy and Jim Boeheim have ever coached against one another.
Wow. Now, these games in the Garden, now that Syracuse is leading the Big East, these are important. They need these opportunities here. If you're going to identify as New York's college team, you better play here.
O'Brien got caught in midair and squeezed one to DeCozy. Shot clock down to 5. O'Brien creates some space. Rainbow jumper. Long rebound. And DeCozy with a fresh shot clock. Instead, Cummings. Quick trigger from the corner comes up short. O'Brien takes it away from Trish. Underneath to Lee.
I did not think that was a great possession in any way, shape, or form. I thought the second shot was too fast. O'Brien should have looked right before the first shot was delivered. He never looked to the opposite side of the floor. But you know what? Sometimes you get one.
Good hands by Khalif Wyatt to knock it out of bounds, and ends up in his coaching staff's lap. Scooty Randall will come back in for Temple, and CJ Fair on as well. Randall in for Wyatt. Fair replaces Sutherland.
So Randall now has to be the guy to score. You know, Wyatt has done a really nice job of getting them shots and scoring himself.
Christmas faces up. Can't hit. Cummings the rebound. And a chance again for Temple to take the lead. Are you sensing a little confidence growing for Temple?
Well, first of all, I've never sensed them not be confident from the opening tip. I think they've comported themselves well against the zone, getting ball reversal, getting good shots, entering it to the middle of the zone. But sure, of course, the longer you're in it, the better you feel.
There's O'Brien underneath. It's taken away by Fair. Fair penetrates. That's blocked, but a foul call. O'Brien got a piece of that shot. Looked like a clean block, but they're going to call the foul on Quentin DeCozy, who was guarding the drive.
Wow. You know, I mean, I guess you could call a body foul, but not on O'Brien. That looked clean. If the body foul, it was on DeCozy, but that's not who. It was his?
They got the foul on DeCozy.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that I could see. Let's say this, you watch Temple play, and I think that they're post defenders for Fran Dunphy, and Hollis Jefferson in particular, because he was dealing with Mason Plumlee. Their post guys chest up very well. Do you know what I mean? They keep their chest high, and they just force that offensive player to score over the top. And especially when that guy might have talent in the post as a scorer, just make him score over the top without fouling.
Hard to do against Syracuse as well. Temple doesn't have a player in the front court that weighs more than 230 pounds. So when it becomes kind of that offensive line against offensive line football mentality, Syracuse has DeJuan Coleman at 288, Rakeem Christmas at 242. That's some size in the front court to body up against.
And your technique has to be good. So that's a perfect way to put that.
Wyatt quickly back in the game for Fran Dunphy as well. The ball movement, but unable to handle the pass on the baseline was Anthony Lee.
Fran Dunphy's got his hands in his pockets. Some of those, because O'Brien has tried to make a couple of good plays. But as Fran knows, sometimes against Syracuse with that length and athleticism, what looks like it might be a good pass or play closes down awfully quickly.
I still can't get used to the no mustache, by the way. Having a hard time getting there. It's been a while now, as Fair is able to connect.
Free throw line and down, boy. You better check this guy. His mid-range, very good.
Wyatt way outside. He's got a three. 13 in the first half for Khalif Wyatt. Fair, pretty crossover, and a smooth-looking jumper.
There's just something about the feel of a guy who has got experience. And CJ Fair just wears it well.
Mr. Consistency is the way Mike Hopkins described him before the game. Way up in the air. An off-balance floater. Khalif Wyatt looking to draw a foul. Here's Brandon Trish to the corner. Wide open Cooney. That's an air ball. CJ Fair keeps it alive. Can't draw a foul. It's taken away by Quentin DeCozy. Wyatt off the window again. And he was looking for an and one. Coast to coast, laying it in is Trish. And the pace picks up.
Good read by Brandon Trish. He realized that Khalif Wyatt was busy, and as good as his drive was, he spent a minute in the backcourt. So Trish recognizes he's got a number situation.
Wyatt weaves his way through traffic again.
This kid is so tough. Two things I'd like to see from him, okay? Two things, because this guy can play, can flat score. I'd like to see him talk to the officials just a touch less, and I'd like to see him guard with more veracity, because he can guard.
Cooney penetrates. Can't get the bounce. Kept alive by Kate on the offensive glass. He can't hit, and it's out of bounds off Kata. A standing ovation from the Temple side as they love the work they've seen from Khalif Wyatt so far.
But I'll tell you what, there's not a way this guy can't score. And when his team has needed a big bucket, Mr. Wyatt has delivered. It's been a heck of a half. How about this drive? Through contact once again.
It seems as if, from an attitude standpoint, Doris, Khalif Wyatt came into today's game knowing the type of performance he was going to have for his team to have a chance to win.
And delivered. You know, just does a great job. If you're Syracuse, you came in saying keep him out of the lane, because this guy can make tough twos.
O'Brien from the corner. In and out for three. Taken away. Anthony Lee tries to shove it back up to the rim and draws a foul.
Well, I like this Temple team. They have worked hard on the offensive glass all half. It hasn't necessarily translated for them into second chance opportunities, but what does it do, Bob? It keeps a dangerous transition team out of transition, right? They've gone to the offensive glass. Their second chance points coming out of the last break, only 3. But they haven't given up anything easy, or very little easy, to Syracuse.
We saw Michael Carter-Williams make one of those Michael Carter-Williams plays. It's like the second possession of the game when he threw the lob to C.J. Fair. We haven't really seen Syracuse make a play like that since.
Great point, and it just takes momentum away. Syracuse had momentum on a couple of occasions, but keep them out of transition. Don't let them make those electrifying ones, and look out.
C.J. Fair fouled. So after Fair picked up his first personal foul at one end, he draws the foul at the opposite end, and that's the second on Anthony Lee.
At the line for Syracuse, number 5, C.J. Fair.
Syracuse is 10-0. Their only wins so far this season that haven't been by double figures. They went to Arkansas and won by 9. And then they almost blew a 22-point lead to Detroit the other night when Jim Boeheim picked up win number 900. And they only beat UD by 4, 72-68. Their other 8 wins have all been by at least 10.
Great win at Arkansas. That is a difficult place to play. That environment is terrific. I had him against Detroit. The second 20 minutes was a painful tape session for Syracuse.
Wyatt takes again a little bit of a bump and throws it off the front of the rim. And then fouls Carter-Williams.
Foul called against Temple's
I
number
love
1,
how
Khalif
competitive he
Wyatt.
is. I truly love how competitive he is.
That's his first foul. That's the 10th team foul, though, against Temple here in the first half. So Carter-Williams is shooting 81% at the free throw line. The automatic 2, and the announcer jinx works to perfection as we talk about what a terrific free throw shooter Carter-Williams is. The first one's a brick. He has not made many mistakes so far this season, though. Number 1 in the country in assists and number 2 in the country in steals.
Again, we talked at the start of the telecast. It's a rare talent in basketball when you can dictate the outcome of games without scoring. And Jerry McNamara said this is as instinctual a defender as he's ever seen. That is a huge compliment.
Good job maintaining their composure. Temple gets it across the timeline. Now Lee double teamed and lost it. It's on the deck, a scramble for it. At the bottom of the pile is Randall, and the possession arrow will give it back to the Orange. Well, coming up later on today, the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic will continue. Today at 4 Eastern on ESPNU, Ole Miss and Indiana State. And then at 6, San Diego State in the top 20 again, taking on USF.
Arizona with a grinded game against Florida. Great mental toughness.
C.J. Fair leans in, and it's off the glass and through.
Wow. This feels like C.J. Fair is the one with the 5-point lead here.
About a 6.5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. So Temple can't hold for one. Syracuse will have another chance with the basketball. Here's Wyatt, though, for three. Got it!
Nice job. He sends the guy on the strong side of the floor to the deep corner, gets the post to come up and set a screen so that he's operating in a one-on-one off the screen and roll. Really nicely done.
Carter Williams, what a shake and bake dribble. Just about faked himself out and then is rejected by Anthony Lee with 2.8 seconds to go in the half.
That was well done, Mr. Lee. The lefty twice on the pipes. This is 6-6.
Carter Williams throws one up off balance, way short. And what a terrific first half it turns out to be in the end for Temple. Down by 10 at one point. You talked about the danger zone they were in. Khalif Wyatt stabilized them, and they're down by only 2 at half.
Contributions across the board, but he buoyed them. When they needed a bucket, he delivered.
It's halftime here at the Garden. Chris Cotter. Jim Boeheim's team has yet to trail in the second half of a game so far this season as well. Here's a chance for Temple right out of the locker room to tie or take the lead. Temple has been a giant killer the last few years. 4 straight years they have at least one win over a top 10 team. And they have a chance today against Syracuse with Khalif Wyatt putting up big time numbers in the first half. Who will help him in the second half? Shot clock at 10. Randall on the baseline comes up short. The lob. Christmas can't finish. Trish found him in transition, but he couldn't squeeze it over the front of the rim. A lob at the other end, and there is a finish. Wyatt finds Anthony Lee.
Just great change of pace. Wyatt pushed it because he saw him running the floor. Beautifully done.
Carter Williams for 3. Short. Trish in traffic. Lost it. Some numbers for Temple. Wyatt finds the trailer. Randall. And it's stripped away.
Well, one missed opportunity in transition. Cannot finish the first one. And this is where he recognizes that the big man Lee is running right alongside him. Really nice job. Well, what a game he's put together, Mr. Wyatt.
Didn't take Jim Boeheim long to go to the bench. Sutherland is already back on. As Christmas sits down. And Von Musakeda comes on as well. Dewan Coleman back on the bench. And a turnover. Reaching in the passing lane, a steal for Sutherland.
That's one number to watch here in the second half. Turnovers for Temple.
Unforced error there, though, as Carter Williams threw it to the back shoulder of Brandon Trish. And he fumbled it out of bounds.
Actually, probably threw it to where he should have thrown it. I mean, to be honest with you, Trish is a very good three-point shooter. He looks at Carter Williams right there and says, hey, my bad. And he should. That's good teammate skills. And I like that Michael Carter Williams was willing to get in his face a little bit.
High-low pass. As Jefferson banks it home.
I'll tell you, another thing you can be impressed with Temple, I said this to start, France teams are well coached. They share the basketball. I was impressed watching them on tape with their interior passing ability. That soft little bounce to make it an easy catch.
Foul called on the drive by Carter Williams as Syracuse trails in the second half. For the first time this season, Will Cummings just picked up his 3rd personal foul, so that will get TJ DeLeo up off the Temple bench. But Jim Boeheim's team might be facing its toughest test here at the Garden today in a pseudo-home game. Syracuse is wearing the road orange, but obviously when they are at the Garden, it is rare that they don't far outnumber the opposition's fans. That's certainly the case today. Temple's got a nice contingent. Sutherland for 3. That won't go, but it's not the group that Syracuse has here.
Their shot selection, decision making, and I know we're early in the second half, but they've got to tighten that up if they're Syracuse.
Off the window, no good for Anthony Lee, but he draws another foul. And a chance now for Temple to extend their lead. C.J. Fair called for the foul. That's his second.
At the line for Temple, shooting 2 is number 3, Anthony Lee.
What's the thing that surprised you, maybe impressed you the most beyond just the work we've seen Khalif Wyatt do with the offensive execution of Temple against the Syracuse zone?
Well, I think they came in with a very good plan, and they played with pace. They've entered the ball to the middle of that zone and went in there. You know, you can get hurried at that free throw line. When you see all that orange and the length and athleticism you know is there, they've just comported themselves well. I know they had turnovers, but I just like how they've handled themselves. And Carter Williams, I think, is starting to take control of this team. I said he was in the face of Brandon Trish, a little bit of an overstatement, but he's speaking to them. He's talking to the guys offensively and defensively, Michael Carter, and I think that's a very good thing long-term for Syracuse.
Held ball keeps it with Syracuse. But again, some sloppy play, sloppy execution at the offensive end for Syracuse, and a near turnover as they've had a couple of turnovers to start off the second half.
When you're talented, right, you feel sometimes like you can be loose with possessions.
Trish, a little up fake with the hand, gets to the side of the rim and draws the foul. A near three-point play opportunity. Instead, it will be Khalif Wyatt putting Brandon Trish at the free throw line. That's number 2 on Wyatt.
I thought he was terrific in the first half, Trish, in addition to C.J. Fair. And it looks like he's got nowhere to go. He just keeps working with a little change of pace dribble.
We've seen that look before. After a missed free throw, a turnover, and 1 of 2 at the line for Brandon Trish. Syracuse has been mediocre at best at the line, 10 for 17. A big reason why they're down by 3. A little jump hook goes for Anthony Lee.
You see what I mean about that free throw line there? And just continue to work the ball in there, and they get another timeout here.
The Temple end of the Garden on their feet and loving it. Anthony Lee in double figures, and it's a 5-point lead for the Owls.
The Mako Bowl, Las Vegas, today at 3:30 on ESPN. College football lives here.
Jay Fair got an earful from Jim Boeheim.
How does Syracuse respond to being down in the second half for the first time this season? And stepping on the sideline, another turnover as Trish again fumbles it.
So the classic Jim Boeheim look, little frustration. He knows this is a great building block for his team, but tell you what, all over the floor, Anthony Lee, Hollis Jefferson, Wyatt, Randall, they're playing smart, good basketball.
1 point on 6 second-half possessions so far for Syracuse. The lob, and some patience shown by Lee for a reset.
He made the right decision.
Wyatt throws it back inside the Lee. Through the double team. Muscles it up and in.
Go ahead and be a man inside the paint. Doesn't matter if bodies are around you, go up strong. You get your shot blocked, so what? Instead, he muscles through it. Great stuff.
A 10-1 run for Temple to start the second half. Wyatt forces Carter Williams into a tough flip, but the foul call. That'll put Carter Williams at the free throw line when we come back.
The Owls giving Syracuse all they can handle. The first pass didn't work. Mr. Lee makes this like a month. I know it hasn't been that long. I think it was a 12-game winning streak. One notable absence amongst those teams that should be there. It should be considered for the future, Christmas Day. The Memphis Grizzlies. Coach Hollins has done a masterful job since taking over. They are competitive and legit. Not that I'm into programming at ESPN, mind you.
They might hire you. Khalif Wyatt has the basketball. Carter Williams, by the way, still without a field goal, as you may have noticed. But there's the key for Wyatt. 20 points, but 3 fouls. And Fran Dunphy opts to keep him on the floor.
Well, I think he can play through it, obviously.
Has to be careful and smart not to pick up that 4th anytime soon. A lot of time left. Now he leans in, throws up a wild 3, but the smart senior head fake by Khalif Wyatt will put him at the line to shoot 3.
And you know what? If he's going to pick up an offensive foul, this is not one at all, believe me. And in the NBA, I don't think this counts, right? Because this is the play that they're very mindful of at the NBA level, is that kind of trying to draw that, throw it up there. But if he's going to commit a foul, you'd think it'd be more likely on one of those straight line or hard drives where he's adjusting in the air. He's got to be careful in the penetration.
Well, Fran Dunphy, as you mentioned, told us before the game that Khalif Wyatt, by far the smartest basketball player he has on this team. He just said he's got a huge basketball IQ. How much goes into not just the move he made to get himself to the line for 3, but the trust a coach will have in that basketball IQ player to leave him on the floor when he's got foul trouble, whereas he might not give that benefit of the doubt to others.
Right, you're on an equity, you know, through your practice habits, through how you conduct yourself in the past, and regardless of score, to me, you're always earning equity with your coach. And here's wise, right? You're going to take him out. You're going to put him back in. You're going to be very, very smart with him for about 6-7 game time minutes.
Carter Williams with his first field goal. And he has a chance for a 3-point play. And a little fire on the face of Michael Carter Williams.
You'd almost like him to be thinking score more than he does, to the point you made earlier, because he's gifted. 6'6", superb athlete. He's an electric passer and playmaker. But I'd like to see him thinking score as much.
So DeLeo out, Khalif Wyatt right back in. Carter Williams completes the old-fashioned 3-point play, and it's a 6-point Temple lead. And here comes the pressure for Syracuse.
Yeah, this is what Syracuse does when they want to change tempo.
They just about do, and they get the turnover in the corner. It's bounced off Jake O'Brien out of bounds. Fran Dunphy mentioned to us before the game one of the things he might be concerned about is how Syracuse can change the pace by going with full court pressure.
Yep.
Trish swoops in. What a finger roll by Brandon Trish. And here's the pressure again. Randall, the home run pass to Anthony Lee. Can't get it to go. And it stays with Temple.
How about Cada? You know, he's not going to give you anything on the offensive end, but he has got length and the ability to protect the rim. Even when he might be caught out of position for the briefest moment, he's active enough and long enough to recover.
Wyatt to the corner. O'Brien for 3. Way short. Hit the side of the backboard. And then Jake O'Brien commits the cheap foul after Michael Carter Williams had the rebound. That's the second foul on O'Brien.
Just because you're capable and just because you're open doesn't necessarily mean that a shooter should make that shot. I mean, Syracuse has got all the momentum right now. So quick shooting the basketball does nothing but aid that momentum.
Quentin Nkosi comes back on along with TJ DeLeo. Here's Carter Williams, hit the underside of the rim, and DeLeo, shortest player on the court, comes up with the rebound.
Temple should be deliberate here.
Nkosi, wraparound pass for the bank shot by Anthony Lee.
Jump stop in the lane. Jump stop in the lane, because jump stop means you're landing on 2 feet, you're balanced, your shoulders are still square, so if they don't guard you, you can shoot it, or if they do guard you, you can pass it.
Williams is fouled by TJ DeLeo, and that's the last foul to give for Temple.
Watch what he does to Nkosi. Jump stop, 2 feet. It allows you to be under control. No way off a jump stop are you ever going to pick up a charge, or very rarely unless your momentum forces you to lean forward.
CJ Fair, got it. And here comes the pressure again. Randall gets it across the timeline, and he's fouled from behind by Carter Williams.
But you can't keep Khalif Wyatt on the bench to me. He's just too important as a guy who can handle the ball, be a decision maker against the pressure they're throwing at you.
Second foul on Carter Williams. And Jim Boeheim's team could shoot a lot of free throws here in the second half, as Temple already with 6 fouls in the first 6 minutes. So they are over the limit the rest of the way. Lee again in amongst the trees. Carter Williams knocks it out of bounds. He was once Aladdin in his high school musical performance as a senior in high school of Aladdin. He said he had the vest, the beanie, the whole thing. Can you picture
Well, who doesn't want
a more out of place looking Aladdin than a 6'4" Aladdin?
Magic carpet ride.
He's just that versatile. He's that much of a Renaissance man. Shot clock to 10. Lee Wyatt looks up, realizes it, and gave it away to Trish. Here's Carter Williams crossing over. Hangs, can't hit. Cada, offensive glass with the pump fake, and the jump hook goes. It's a 2-point game. Wyatt pushes tempo, and he's fouled by Carter Williams. That's the 3rd on Michael Carter Williams, and the 4th on the team.
It's been a fun game.
Are you sensing that the pressure is starting to get Temple a little out of their comfort zone as Randall can't finish off the lob?
Yeah, they've got to be stronger and more deliberate, I think, with their thinking.
Fair. Banks it home. And we're tied.
And he uses a timeout. Fran Dunphy not making any motion in that direction.
Wide at midcourt. Again, it's up tempo. He'll swoop in and lay it home.
Nice job attacking the pressure to score. And I think you need him on the floor right now.
Carter Williams lost it. Sloppy dribble by Michael Carter Williams. And now Temple, just as they get tied, go back up by 2 and get the turnover.
Yeah. I like this. You see, just be more deliberate.
Alice Jefferson, a little sloppy. Shot clock down to 5. From the foul line, it's O'Brien. A little too strong. Carter Williams with Fair on his left. Will try to do it himself. Draws the foul. It's another foul on Jake O'Brien. And that will put Michael Carter Williams at the free throw line. 3rd foul on O'Brien.
Now, he's going to get the 2 shots anyway because it's a shooting foul. But the point you made, they're already in the bonus because that's the 17th foul now on Temple.
At the line for Syracuse, shooting 2 is number 1, Michael Carter Williams.
Obviously, full court pressure is designed to make a team feel uncomfortable. But how uncomfortable has Temple looked since Jim Boeheim, pushed that button and told his guys to up the tempo?
Very uncomfortable. And one thing to think about is, wow, nice job, Sutherland.
Sutherland, after a pair of misses, ties the game anyway.
And let's keep in mind, Syracuse did not shoot the free throw great in the first half. They're only 66% on the year. But you're right, they look sped up. They don't look like they want to, shorten their passes. They need to just keep their composure because all Syracuse is looking to do is speed you up and change the tempo.
Wyatt way outside for 3. Lee, offensive rebound. He's fouled. Sutherland raised his hand at the scorer's table and said the foul's on me, but it looks as if by Musa Cada will be called for his 3rd instead.
Welcome to Chevy's year-end event.
Game for them on Friday against Missouri.
It's a chance to beat a high-caliber opponent. You have the comfort of home, but Missouri, boy, I'll tell you what. For a guy, and this is what kills me about the changing landscape. Kansas, Missouri won't play for the first time since when? The Civil War. It's absurd.
Yeah, it seems like now conferences changing is beyond an inevitability. It's happening everywhere, but you'd like to think that some of those old rivalry games would remain, even if teams that have long been conference rivals end up in different conferences. You see it in college football. Some you know, some rivalries are going away, but Florida and Florida State play every year. Clemson and South Carolina play every year. They're in different conferences, but they find a way to do it. As Sutherland hits a banker to tie it up again. Ducosi goes right at Christmas. Flips it up, can't get it to go, and then O'Brien was right there at the doorstep, but missed the tap. Now it's Brandon Trish running the point along with C.J. Fair, with Michael Carter-Williams on the bench. Fair penetrates, no good. Tapped around, and it goes over to Temple. I'll check that. Yes, it will stay. No, it's going to go over to Temple, pardon me. And that brings Khalif Wyatt back in the game.
Number 1, Khalif Wyatt.
He will enter the ball, and I would assume they're looking to get it back to him. So if he enters it, he's cut into the middle of the floor, and they hope to put it back in his hands.
There's the home run pass. Hollis Jefferson breaking pressure about as effectively as you can.
Really well done. They know that Syracuse is up the line defensively, meaning they're looking for the steal off of every player.
C.J. Fair again rolls one off the rim. But it's out of bounds, I think, off Hollis Jefferson.
Back into the game for the Orange is number 12, By
Musa Keita comes back on with 3 personal fouls.
Well, he's been at the rim all day long, C.J. Fair, in the second half.
Checking back in.
That brings Anthony Lee back on as well, as Jake O'Brien will sit down. Trish slides one through traffic to Keita. Wyatt fouls by Trish. Team foul number 6 on Syracuse. So now the Orange are out of fouls to give as well. So both teams shoot free throws the rest of the way. And free throw shooting has been a major Temple advantage in this game so far.
Anthony Lee and Khalif Wyatt are 14 for 15. Okay, those two guys, as you see the disparity team-wise, so they have made combined more than Syracuse in fewer opportunities. Don't waste your trips.
Randall for 3. That's a huge shot for Scooty Randall.
I'll tell you what, Khalif Wyatt is doing more than just score and pass, okay? He's directing traffic. He made sure that those 2 post guys were spaced well enough that that jumper's possible. This guy is playing a game.
Carter-Williams, smooth off the glass.
Michael Carter-Williams.
Double figures now for Michael Carter-Williams, but only 2 field goals. Khalif Wyatt gives it up to the corner. Ducosi tries a 3. He's got one.
Clemson Ducosi. From Khalif Wyatt.
You have navigated through the foul trouble with your Fran Dunphy of Khalif Wyatt.
Trish off the mark. Ducosi had it in his hands. It was poked away by Fair, but corralled by Anthony Lee.
Great hands by Lee. Good competing on the glass by Temple.
Temple is 7 of 16 from 3. On Wednesday night against Canisius, they were 4 for 28, 2 for 16 in the second half alone. And what turned out to be a 10-point loss. Now against the number 3 team in the nation, they're shooting it well, and they've got a 4-point lead. Shot clock to 7. Wyatt tries another 3. That's off the mark. Another offensive rebound, though, for Anthony Lee, and he draws a foul. And that will put Anthony Lee at the free throw line.
Well, Anthony Lee has just competed. This guy has just competed. And Fran Dunphy was saying to us before the game, he said, I don't know that my interior guys can do or be as effective as they normally are against Syracuse inside. I'll tell you what, Hollis Jefferson and Anthony Lee have competed.
At the line for Temple is number
Sutherland
3.
called for his second foul.
They'll see 1-1.
Both teams now here in the second half with 7 fouls. So it's a 1-1 for Anthony Lee. And we'll see if Temple can keep what has been basically an unconscious night at the free throw line going. And Lee does just that.
Even you can't jinx him.
Doing my best. Anthony Lee came into this game at 63% for the season at the line. He's only missed one. There's number 2. Still a 5-point lead for the Owls. Carter Williams had it knocked away, and it's out of bounds off Syracuse. And Carter Williams might be hurt. He jumps right back up. He was just frustrated. For a moment, it looked as if Hollis Jefferson rolled up on the ankle of Carter Williams.
See what I mean about Hollis Jefferson in possessions? Nice job jumping in the passing lane, being aggressive, not letting the offense dictate to you as a defender. Hollis Jefferson saying, I'm going to determine my fate. Oh, nice pass.
Block underneath. Sutherland called for the foul. Lee back to the free throw line. Great ball movement by Temple.
They just continue to work the free throw line, and you got a few different options, but Hollis Jefferson, boy, quick entry pass, square up, be patient. That back line reacting slowly from Syracuse. They have just, boy, and Fran Dunphy, we were talking to him about sort of navigating the zone. And he made a great point, and I touched on this Monday night against Detroit. Wisconsin was 50% from 3 against Syracuse last year in the NCAA tournament. They were terrific against the zone, and it didn't matter. It takes more than just making jump shots. You got to compete on the glass. You got to be solid with the basketball. And thus far, Temple has done all that.
Cheap foul called on Temple. Anthony Lee only 1 of 2 at the free throw line, adding to a career high. He's up to 20. But the loose ball, and Scooty Randall called for a reach-in foul. That's 18 fouls against Temple. So by Musa Keita will shoot 1 and 1 at the other end.
Checking in for Temple, number 1, Khalif Wyatt. And at the line, shooting 1 and 1 for Syracuse, number 12, by Musa Keita.
Keita gets the friendly roll.
What a job Anthony Lee has done. You talk about a guy who's going to have to carry a little bit of a load inside all year for Temple. He has been a load for Syracuse.
Long rebound to Sutherland, a held ball. Good hands by DeCozy. And the possession arrow gives it back to Temple.
Possession of the jump ball goes to Temple.
Jim Boeheim a little frustrated. His team trotted down the other end of the floor, and he wanted them to be up off of the dead ball in the backcourt for full court pressure. And again, the home run pass works perfectly. Wyatt outlets to Randall, and now a reset.
Look, the official had handed that ball to Khalif Wyatt a little bit faster. They could have been a little quicker on that.
Randall for 3. He's got another. 2 field goals in the second half for Scooty Randall. Both threes, and Temple's back up by 8.
Wyatt, Randall, and Hollis Jefferson all average at least 3 assists. All do a nice job of being patient with the ball in their hands. Hollis Jefferson's been terrific.
C.J. Fair, a little too strong, but a foul called. It looks like it'll go against Relier Hollis Jefferson. Temple's a different team if Scooty Randall starts to shoot the ball well.
Good job by Hollis Jefferson to hit the weak side. This guy can get it going. Right? They needed that in about 1 minute 47 seconds. So you can look across this Temple roster and know why they are in this position.
Well, Syracuse is 14 of 25 from the free throw line, even with that fair make. That's a big reason why they're down by 7. That's Doris Burke on Bob Wischusen, and we've seen lots of firsts in the second half of this game. It's the first time that Syracuse this season has given up 70, and we still have 7.5 minutes to go. It's also the first time this season that Syracuse has trailed in the second half of the game, and Anthony Lee already working on a career high. Carter Williams saves it, and it is a turnover for Temple as it goes off the foot of Hollis Jefferson and out of bounds. As we take a look at the 8 teams that remain unbeaten coming into this weekend. Syracuse, of course, at 10-0. Carter Williams from the elbow comes up short.
Well, you can see some potential in Mr. DeCozy. That guy's a nice-looking young athlete. He shot it consistently from deep. And what experience for that young guy to be playing in a game of this magnitude in the Garden. Love it.
Hollis Jefferson back outside. Wyatt for three. Sutherland and Lee battle for it, and it stays with Temple. Another hustle play by Anthony Lee gets the Owls a fresh 35. He's been terrific.
Terrific. Just so active. Love guys that go outside of their area to make plays. And Hollis Jefferson, boy, he's making that high post area look easy. It's not easy, folks, what he's doing in there. Keeping the ball out of Syracuse's hand and keeping the pace where you want it right now, Temple.
From the corner, off ball movement, DeCozy can't hit. Hollis Jefferson offensive rebound. That's blocked, and here comes Carter Williams. Off to Fair right at the midcourt stripe. Fair swoops in, tried to dunk it, goes down hard, and he earns 2 free throws.
Boy, I thought if they had stepped in rather than go for the block, because you knew where he was going, the guy, this is his game. He is, free throw line it down around the rim. Tremendous athlete. It feels like C.J. Fair in the most important moments of this game, including the first half where there are important moments. This guy's asserted himself.
6th game in double figures this year for C.J. Fair, and that matches his career high. He's got 21, and he's been the only consistent free throw shooter for Syracuse. Perfect at the line. Imagine what their free throw shooting numbers would look like without C.J. Fair.
I think the thing about Syracuse is, and Kate has played a very nice game, they have multiple options. Sutherland has sometimes been the guy.
Another home run pass to Randall that breaks pressure for Temple. Push-off called on Wyatt. That's number 4. And he better be careful. He had a lot to say after this push-off.
And this is his 4th. Do you remember what I said? And listen, Michael Carter does a very good job. And there's no doubt. But I remember I said he's most likely to pick it up on the offensive end, right? And that's exactly what happened.
Now what happens with Wyatt on the bench? Carter Williams goes to the free throw line again. And Fran Dunphy continues to manage possession by possession with Khalif Wyatt. Gets him right back up at the scorer's table.
I love it. I mean, he's almost, you think about offense, defense substitutions down the stretch of games. Fran Dunphy has managed that foul trouble in this half like he's managing an endgame situation. It's great.
Another miss at the line, though, for Carter Williams.
And he's still yapping at the official, Khalif Wyatt, and he's got to stop. He's too good. The officials have shown great sort of patience, but you're not in the NBA. I'm surprised they're giving him that much of a rope.
Carter Williams came into today 81% at the line. He is 6 for 13, and now he commits a foul. A reach-in called on Michael Carter Williams. That's his 4th.
That's going to get Trevor Cooney up and off the bench.
5:48 to go, and think about all the different coaching machinations that we could have in the last 5.5 minutes. When you've got the 2 point guards, you'd have to say they're the most important players to their respective teams, both with 4 fouls each. And we also have both teams now that'll shoot the double bonus the rest of the way. This is the last 1-and-1 for Temple. And an offensive rebound. White back up, Lee can't hit. DeCozy in traffic. He gets the roll.
But they're just competing. DeCozy is a heck of an athlete, fast off his feet. And because the other guys are competing, that allows him a chance.
Trish turns the corner. No good. Kept alive by Keita. And a foul call.
It's a good foul. You're talking about a guy who's been really struggling from the free throw line. He's a 44% shooter coming in, Keita.
3rd on DeCozy.
At the line, shooting 2 for Syracuse is number 12.
Syracuse is 17 of 30 at the line. And it gets worse.
Have you ever seen this, where a coach like Fran Dunphy for this long has basically kind of gone offense, defense with a guy who's in foul trouble? I don't think I've ever seen it. Not for this length of time.
It seems like he's been going possession by possession with Khalif Wyatt since we hit the under 16 timeout. 1 of 2 at the line for Keita.
Checking back in for the Owls, number 1, Khalif Wyatt.
Wyatt in traffic, lost it, but a foul call. And whether they determine Wyatt was in the act of shooting or not now, irrelevant, as both teams have hit 10-team fouls, so it's the double bonus the rest of the way.
I think he saw Trevor Cooney in front of him and made up his mind immediately.
Temple is number 1, Khalif Wyatt.
Khalif Wyatt, the senior version at Temple of what Michael Carter-Williams is now as a sophomore at Syracuse. He bided his time. He barely played as a freshman behind Juan Fernandez, Ryan Brooks, you know, the good backcourt players that Temple had. But then 2010, 2011 as a sophomore, he's the 6th man of the year in the Atlantic 10. Last year, 2nd team All-A-10. Now he's on pace to maybe be a 1st team All-A-10 performer as a senior. Now, I don't expect Michael Carter-Williams, nor do you, I think, to see his senior year at Syracuse, but it's different levels of player, obviously, but just goes to show you when you pay your dues and then you become the leader in management by Fran Dunphy. Khalif Wyatt back on the bench.
Syracuse is number 1, Michael Carter-Williams.
Jim Boeheim does the same as he has Carter-Williams back on with 4 fouls at the offensive end. Here's Trish fading away. Off the rim. Keita, offensive rebound. Right back up. That won't go. C.J. Fair has it stripped away from behind by T.J. DeLeo. And Jim Boeheim wanted a foul. From the corner, it's Jacozy. Long rebound. And a fresh shot clock.
Pull it, DeLeo, and make him play a little bit more defense. Nicely done. See, a little bit less certain about what you want to do because no stoppage of play, so Khalif Wyatt not in there. So, how, you know, the shot they can manufacture here will be an interesting one.
Shot clock down to 12. DeLeo with the shot clock at 8. Off to Randall. He'll try a 3. Offensive rebound again by Hollis Jefferson, but gave it away. Here comes Sutherland. Off to Carter-Williams. Carter-Williams right at DeLeo. Keita, offensive glass.
Boy, what minutes Keita has given them. Absolutely tremendous. Just a lot of activity.
Pretty good by Temple with Wyatt on the bench. Easily broke the pressure.
Good patience. Need a good quality shot every trip. Now, once you go underneath, you can get Khalif Wyatt back in the game.
Hollis Jefferson wide open. Can't hit it. Sutherland the rebound. Here comes the Cuse.
Why not try to get Sutherland or C.J. Fair a look here?
The first legitimate late-game test of the season for Syracuse. Fair from the corner for 3. He's got it! One possession game, under 3 minutes to go. Randall for 3. Air ball. Here comes Fair. Fair. Did he step on the sideline? He did. Jim Boeheim disagrees. But Fair turns it over, and Temple still holding on to the lead.
All afternoon, when Syracuse has needed a basket, C.J. Fair has delivered. Not known as a three-point shooter, but much improved.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college.
Free throw line, high post area, so important.
Tough spot to get the ball in. And Khalif Wyatt has to spend a timeout.
Jim Boeheim, I think, felt like they had gotten to the 4 count because he was hot and he was chewing on the official. I feel like, yeah, he's upset, and that was still toward the official. I think he thought they got to the 4 count and that the timeout didn't come fast enough. So he's letting the official know it. And what that does is, if it gets near the 4 count again here, they may not get that timeout.
What has to happen down the stretch for both teams? If you were in their respective huddles, you're Jim Boeheim, your Fran Dunphy.
Well, you just make a great point. Trying to inbound in front of your opponent's bench with the kind of length and athleticism Syracuse has, you've struggled enough getting the ball in at times. When you've had the full baseline to work with, you are working with a much shorter court. Their ability to inbound.
Wyatt uses the size of Randall to get it in. Keita comes that close to breaking it up. Hollis Jefferson regains control, and a chance for Temple once again to set up their offense. Shot clock down to 10. Wyatt way outside. And the long rebound. Randall's got it and kicks it back to DeCozy.
All afternoon, their ability to offensive rebounding has been huge, and it's not for their second chance points, so they've gotten 12 of them. What it's about is keeping the ball out of Syracuse's hands. That's their 19th offensive rebound.
DeCozy thought about it from the corner, passes up the open 3, and now it's Randall with 5 to shoot. Hollis Jefferson from the foul line. In and out off the bank. Loose, held ball, Syracuse basketball.
Boy, DeCozy, opportunistic from the perimeter. Yeah, Mr. Lee said, yes, sir, young freshman. You're doing a heck of a job on the glass.
That entire possession, and it turned out to be an off-the-backboard shot for Temple, but Syracuse's coach, Jim Boeheim, told his guys, relax.
Yeah.
He allowed Temple to shorten the game. Carter Williams now penetrates. Foul. He'll have a chance to tie the game.
So difficult to contain off the dribble. Well, one thing I'd say is I'd like teams to try to collect charges on the show now, because he makes a lot of drives from like 23 feet, and he's capable because he's that good, but you can step in sometimes on this guy.
Carter Williams, though, 6 of 13 at the line. Still can't hit.
Probably not a thing this guy hasn't seen over there, is there? He's just seen everything.
Have to imagine when he drew up the game plan today, though, he didn't imagine if Michael Carter Williams got to the free throw line 15 times, he only makes 7. There's the long pass to midcourt again. And now back to Wyatt, and he'll get it across.
The fact that Lee and he have ball skills is huge.
Wyatt dribbled it right off his knee. Carter Williams to the corner. Trish, in and out. Offensive rebound for Carter Williams. He puts it back up. That won't go. The back tap ends up with Wyatt, and a foul called on Sutherland. Under a minute to go. Temple still has not surrendered the lead.
So tough, so mentally tough, staring at the number 3 ranked team in the country, and Fran Dunphy's team has not blinked.
That's Sutherland's 4th foul.
Number 1, Khalif Wyatt.
And Syracuse will call timeout.
Syracuse takes the timeout.
Syracuse had not trailed in the second half of a game this season until today. They have trailed the entirety of this second half, just about. Their last lead was 4.
And this guy, Mr. Big Time, has delivered. There's not a way he can't score it.
And as bad as Michael Carter Williams has been at the free throw line, Khalif Wyatt has been that perfect. 10 for 10. And he adds to his career high 11 for 11 at the free throw line.
You don't need a 3 here. If you get Sutherland with a good look, great.
And a foul called on Keita on the move.
Offensive foul.
Wow. And Fran Dunphy looking at Khalif Wyatt saying, hey, you can run the baseline. We'll see, you know, does Keita lean Does he stick a knee out? We'll show you the replay when we can of that.
Syracuse does not need to foul yet, and they immediately foul Hollis Jefferson in the corner. Here's the moving screen on Cada.
Now coming in Syracuse, number 5, CJ Fair.
At that moment,
his
I would
third.
leave that alone. At that moment, if I'm Jim Boeheim, I am upset at that. Leave it alone. Both guys are moving toward each other. I don't like that.
Reliever Hollis Jefferson.
Reliever Hollis Jefferson comes into today a 65% free throw shooter. This is his first attempt of the day, and Temple continues to stabilize this game at the free throw line. If you're looking for Texas and Michigan State, it will follow our game as soon as we're done here at the Garden. But over on ESPN News, that game is underway. 5-point lead for Temple. Carter Williams, coast to coast, banks it home.
You can get the quick two. That's a really good decision there by Michael Carter Williams. Too often you have a guy who's trying to get the three, get it early. You can get the two because it was going to take 2 possessions no matter what.
He's pressure. Instead, Hollis Jefferson has it. He can't assume there's going to be a foul. Got to get it over the timeline. DeCozy finds Hollis Jefferson. Now it's across. Not by much.
That was close.
And now a foul called on Sutherland. A ticky-tack reach-in called in the corner. And that'll foul out James Sutherland.
That's his 5th and final foul.
Well, that was certainly not a foul that Sutherland intended to make.
Well, we get the benefit of the second look. He's got his hands on him, so he put himself in a possession. He wasn't trying to foul.
Checking in for the Orange.
I would say this, I don't love it either.
I was going to say, would I file that into what we've heard today, the Doris Burke category of let that one go?
I mean, he put himself in a position to be close enough, and the forearm arm bar on him. But I think his intention wasn't to foul, so you could have let that go. You can see his frustration. They've had a couple tough ones go against them, that's for darn sure.
But once it was in the front court and the shot clock had wound down by about 15 seconds.
You knew that wasn't their intention.
And it also puts Khalif Wyatt, who's 11 of 11 at the free throw line, back at the stripe to try and make it a 2-possession game. He's having the game of his life.
He's been absolutely dynamite. I mean, really across the board. Across the board. The freshman DeCozy has come in and done great things for him.
Minute to go. Carter Williams for 3. In and out. The rebound. Quentin DeCozy draws the foul. And the Temple end starts to celebrate.
And this is the most important thing this young freshman has done, okay? Quentin DeCozy at 6'5", 180 pounds, does not let that lean frame bother him. He is as good an athlete as there is on the floor. And he's used that athleticism and his nose for the ball to go get backboard. It has been a tremendous afternoon across the board for Temple.
DeCozy came into today, not many free throw attempts, but only 25%. That's the first miss in the last 9 at the line for Temple. This game's not over yet. A pair of misses for DeCozy. Carter Williams slips it to the corner. Trish off balance, back to Carter Williams. Comes up short. Cooney attacks, and the putback is good. 15 seconds to go, and Jim Boeheim calls his final timeout.
Syracuse takes a timeout, a full timeout.
So navigating the inbounds pass has been dicey at times, a little bit entertaining and fun. Trying to cleanly inbound the basketball.
Career wins, 901, has been tough to come by. Here's Wyatt, and a foul given. Trish called for the foul. Another quick whistle, and I'm not sure that Brandon Trish meant to foul that quickly as they seemingly had a trap coming on Khalif Wyatt.
Got to knock these down. Jim Boeheim, you gave your team an earful of the second half of Detroit because they didn't play the kind of defense, and now you've given up 80. And remember what I said, they're a national championship team if their defense is elite. It has not been elite. Give Temple a lot of credit.
14 of 14 at the line for Khalif Wyatt. That might do it.
That is
14 seconds to go.
Tell you what a day for Wyatt.
A 30-second timeout.
To step up in those moments with all the pressure and the #3 team in the country.
To go. Down by 5. Here comes Trish. He'll instead attack and go for 2. Throws it down. Now Syracuse will set up the pressure with 9 seconds remaining. It's into DeCozy. Cooney gives the foul, and that is not the player that Fran Dunphy wants at the free throw line right now.
And he didn't run away from the ball either, DeCozy.
His third. At the line for the Owls, shooting 2 is number 25, Quentin DeCozy.
DeCozy has missed his only 2 attempts so far today. And he was only 1 of 4 at the free throw line coming into today. Still can't make one.
So, if he misses this one, where you catch the first pass off the board will give you a little bit more time once you cross it. Wow.
Rattles home the second to make it a 4-point game. Temple will call their final timeout to set things up defensively. Quentin DeCozy really only needed 1 of 2.
Yeah.
And that's what...
Soft pressure.
It's into Carter Williams. Time winding down. He'll drive it.